Vi ska prata mer nu då om WM-loppet eller Yonkers International Trot som loppet heter. Körs strax innan klockan 9 i morgon kväll. Jag pratar med Ninni Gardelin som är på plats som hästskötare. Sköter bland annat Double Deceiver och Gamin Jaba inför morgondagens lopp. Nu ska vi prata med Edison Hatter som kan allt om amerikansk travsport. Han har ett imponerande CV, 26 år gammal. Han håller på med podcaster, han jobbar med tv, gör intervjuer på stallbacken, refererar lopp. Bland annat då på Yonkers. Dessutom så är han rymdingenjör och jobbar på NASA. Hello Edison and welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you so much for having me on. And looking forward, as you said there, a great card tomorrow at Yonkers, the International Trot tomorrow afternoon, evening over there. And it should be a great race once again this year.
Yes. What's your opinion about this year's International Trot?
Well, I got a little bit of news here from the States, hearing a little bit about the field and the horses obviously coming over. Unfortunately, we do have the late scratch of Ideal Ligneries, who came up lame when he came. Something wrong with shipping over here to the States, unfortunately. So he was withdrawn, and he was replaced in the field by Southwind Course. So we still have a full field of 10, and everyone else appears pretty good. One of my friends from Reden, I know, spoke with Dunn earlier this afternoon and said that he's been very happy with the way everything's gone so far there with Geocache. And he said he was a little quiet about his chances tomorrow, but I think he's got to be very happy with the draw 3, and I think he's got some good, quiet confidence there. Geocache, Powwow, Diva, and Honek have all been stabled on the grounds there at Yonkers. Both of Daniel Reden's trainees have been staying at the Melander farm. Trainer Marcus Melander has welcomed him, and I heard very good things about the way that they trained yesterday, and that's why I think I'm going the direction of Double Deceiver, one of those horses for Trainer Daniel Reden in this race tomorrow.
And Edison, it's the difference why they are at Melander stable and the other horses are at Yonkers is that they are colts that have to be at Yonkers, and it's geldings that can be anywhere they want. Am I right?
Yeah, that is correct in terms of the week, leading up to the race. At this point, starting from early this morning at, I believe, 7 in the morning was the requirement for all of the horses to be in the detention barns leading up to tomorrow afternoon's race. So at this point, everybody is settled in there at Yonkers for the evening and looking forward to tomorrow morning.
This race, Edison, how is it met in harness circles? It's quite late on the season and there are horses coming from everywhere.
Well, as I've said, being fortunate enough to come over there the last couple of years to work the Elite Lop, obviously nothing compares to the atmosphere at the Elite Lop, and obviously here in the States, the Hambletonian at the Meadowlands is obviously the biggest day in harness racing, but this is a race that really has gotten some more attention in the last couple of years. You know, it's a race that has a very old history, and then was not held for nearly 30 years from the 1980s until about 10 years ago. So as the race is coming back, this is, I believe, the 11th or 12th edition of the renewed International Trot. It really has gained some traction here in the States. And I'll tell you what, I think more than anything else, especially with some of the horses, we've seen come over here and even stay here in the States, like Ecurity and Hail Mary and some of these others. Aetos Kronos is an example, Jiggy Jog, all these Swedish horses, these European connections. I think there's really been an appreciation here in the States in the last few years for just how good these international horses are compared to our own.
You say Aetos Kronos. What do you know about Aetos Kronos for tomorrow?
So Dexter Dunn obviously came over for Frode Hammer to drive Stole the Show a few years ago there. And looking at this replay here, this is from his most recent race up in Canada, Woodbine Mohawk Park. And, Dexter Dunn is the 4-time driver of the year, so it's really rare that you get the chance to say it. But the race in Canada most recently, Dexter kind of put the horse in a weird spot, and he ended up having to be 6th in the end in that race. But nonetheless, he's been very good since he's entered Marcus Melander's barn here, and obviously has come over from Sweden. Obviously, he's got a lot of crowns on the card. We know how much money he's made and the big races he's won. So he definitely has a chance. It's definitely going to be interesting to see the tactics over the 2,000 meters with the draw, the way it came out. Obviously, Double Deceiver, Aetos Kronos, even Alessandro Gocciadoro, Diva Honek from the second tier there from draw 10. Some of these favored horses have drawn very difficult positions. And the one who, at least on paper, appears to have drawn best is Lexus Kody. But a word of important caution for overseas, Lexus Kody is, I think, very much a bigger track horse. I think he really prefers the 1,600-meter track. Obviously, it's 800 meters, small track at Yonkers. He has only managed to not gallop. He has only stayed trotting once in his several trips to Yonkers. So he definitely does not seem to like the smaller track. This could be a very tricky draw for him.
You haven't mentioned Periculum that much. He was runner-up last year, I guess. What's the report there?
He was a very good second last year to Jiggy Jog. And, Periculum's just one of those horses. Scott Ziron, again, another very respected driver here in the States who always seems to give his horses a great chance. And, sometimes it's difficult to take a horse you know is going to be a short price, who you know is also going to be coming from off of the pace, especially from the second tier draw. But in general, last year I believe he was 6th or 7th, in the last 400, 500 meters before he eventually rallied for second late. So he's going to have to get everything to kind of work out his way. And again, Lexus Kody set a track record the last time he raced. It was obviously on a much bigger track, but I still have very much concerns about Lexus Kody staying flat and trotting at Yonkers. So depending what he does behind the gate, what antics he might have, that might also be something that Periculum has to navigate starting right behind him.
Who is your winner tomorrow and why?
I do believe it is Double Deceiver. It's very interesting to see. I know here in the States, making the morning line, I assisted the odds maker in trying to set these odds, and it's a very difficult thing to do for a race like this. I'll be keeping an eye over there, obviously, with the V4 that you all have, to keep an eye on those percentages to get a feel maybe of what the betting might look like. But, obviously I was treated to see in the race we're seeing on screen there, Double Deceiver, in that Sweden Cup final Elite Loppet weekend. And obviously he was exceptional that day, and he's been very good here as of late as well, including most recently in the victory in the Monclin Store Prix. So he's been very good. And post 6, obviously a bit of a tougher outside draw. And, I was just saying on a show here in the States yesterday that it is kind of interesting that I think the U.S. perception of Orjan Kihlstrom is obviously understanding how good he is overseas. We nearly saw him win the Hamiltonian here a few years ago with Temporal Hanover, but beyond that, we really haven't gotten to see him truly at his best here in the States. So maybe tomorrow is really the time that we get to see Orjan and Daniel really take center stage here in the States.
The thing with Double Deceiver, that he's been there before, how big of an advantage do you think that is? That is, he knows the track, he raced on the track when he raced in the US before?
Yeah, I think it probably is a bit of an advantage potentially in shipping back over here. I think sometimes there are questions with horses, going either one way or the other, right? Either from the States over there or from over there to over here, and to have a horse like Double Deceiver, who obviously started his racing career here in the States before going overseas, it probably is an advantage to come back home here. And he was very good here in the couple of seasons we got a chance to see him, and obviously he did fine overseas in his first couple of starts, so I suppose the ship isn't really something that bothers him. That's probably the bigger takeaway than anything else, is that, such a long ship across the Atlantic Ocean doesn't seem to bother him.
Okay, thank you so much, Edison, for this.
Of course. Enjoy the race tomorrow. Best of luck.
Yes, thank you. Vi ska försöka sammanfatta. Han har väldigt mycket information.
Det har han.
Det senaste vi pratade om Double Deceiver då, att han har varit i USA.
Han har varit i USA tidigare. Han har varit
där
på Yonkers. Ja. Han tävlade en del mot Joviality på Yonkers till exempel. Han kan banan. Det är väl hans spårlott då, som kanske inte är superkul, men det hade kunnat vara betydligt värre. Utav de sämre spåren så är det nog 60 du vill ha på den där banan, skulle jag ändå säga. Och det som Edison berättar om också är det att resan är en viktig del i det hela. Allting verkar bra med honom. Det verkar som att det finns lite bass kring honom. Man pratade också om att Orjan Kihlstrom, att de inte kanske har sett så himla mycket av honom som vi gör här i Sverige då. Men han nämnde ju hans insats med Temporal Hanover i Hamiltonien för ett par år sedan till exempel. Och sen så pratade han ju lite om Dexter, Dunn och Scott Cerrone också, framförallt, som han ville lyfta upp lite grann.
En viktig grej som han sa där också var gällande den här Lexus Kody som alltså vann på 7 och 9 senast på Woodbine. Att han var inne på att 800-metersbanan där inte alls är gynnsam för honom utan att han kommer mycket mer till sin rätt över 1600 meter. Kan säga det också att hästarna bakspåren här, de får inte välja på rygg på 1 och 2 som här i Sverige utan 9 rygg på 1, 10 rygg på 2. Vilket gör att Periculum kan hamna illa på om Lexus Kody inte kommer iväg så bra från innerspåret. Det tyckte jag han var en viktig del av det. Det var väldigt bra information.
Och hans vinnare var ju Double Deceiver. Då.
Precis så. Han började ju prata lite grann om Joe Cash med där tidigt och att det fanns en spänning framförallt i och med att han har varit så bra här. Att han nu kommer dit och testar 800-metersbana också. Vi har inget kvitto på det riktigt, vad han står på det. Men Edison lät ju väldigt nyfiken om man säger så på vad han kommer få se imorgon gällande den hästen. Det var väl gick väl igenom hela det svenska laget om man får säga så, även om inte alla har svensk flagga.
Nej, för det som är till skillnad från Elitloppet, då tävlar man ju där ägaren är. Det är ju den flaggen. Men i VM-loppet imorgon vart hästen är född. Så då är det Aetos Kronos som tävlar för Sverige. Men har ju funnits då sedan en tid tillbaka.
Vi måste också nämna det, för det här är ju väldigt speciellt. Att Ideal Ligneries, eller hur man uttalar det, blir struken och är ersatt nu i listan då, av Southwind Course. Så har vi ju inte här i Sverige.
En reservhäst.
Att du kan skicka in en annan häst dagen innan liksom.
Nej, det har väl hänt någon gång i typ är det Guldklockans final?
Ja, exakt. Det finns ju reservhästar ibland i den typen av loppen. På streckspel är det ju,
Nej,
de har ju inte det på det sättet. Så att de har bytt ut en häst helt enkelt.
Och ni följer VM-loppet. Det ska starta 20.53 imorgon kväll. Ni följer det på atg.se med lite reservation då, för att det kan bli lite försenat.
Ja, precis.
Men 20.50 kan man gå in på atg.se.
Ja,
så kan man ju följa
tidigare, så kan man titta
Man
på de
vill ha
andra tävlingarna.
Uppsnacket också.
Och
inför.
får vi en reservhäst i Sverige, då går ju den utom Toton ska
Precis.
också. Och det gör den ju inte här.
Nej.